Welcome back to the channel, everyone. My name is Alexander Howell, and today you'll probably notice that the background's a little bit different. We had somebody that was diagnosed with COVID in the house, and so we got the heck out of Dodge and came to our lake home where we've got a little bit of acreage, and that's why I am currently recording with a random setup in my master bedroom down here. So if it looks different from the other videos, now you know the reason, but we're all feeling fine, so thank you for everybody who I've talked to about that, and let's move on. So what I want to talk to you about today is what the Merida real estate market looks like, and it's not just that. What this video about is to do two things. One, it's to tell you a little bit about the Merida real estate market as I see it. You can get a lot of different opinions. I talk to a ton of people about this, and so you get opinions from one side to the other, but I'm going to give you a generalization of that from my perspective. And then what I want to do is shift over, because I have so many people that have emailed me, that have sent me messages, and they ask, hey, where do I go? Where do I start? What's the place that I need to search to find real estate? Because what you'll find is that this isn't a Zillow or truly enabled city. This is, you have to know where to go to find real estate, and you honestly have to go to a couple of different sites. So that's what we're going to talk about in the video. Hope you enjoy. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Alexander Howell. I have a YouTube channel where we talk about travel and real estate, and a lot of it has to do with the city that the video is about today, and that's Merida, Mexico. And if you'd like to find me on other social media, please feel free to visit any of these. You can normally find me at Alexander from KC, and feel free to send me a direct text message, 816-727-7740. That comes directly to my phone, push notification and all. So feel free to get a hold of me there. Also go to my website, alexanderhowell.com. And also feel free to like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the little notification bell. That will let you know anytime that I go live, whether it's via streaming or one of these videos go live. I try to be there and chat every single time they premiere so that you can ask me any questions, give me your feedback, and also give me ideas for future videos. Anyway, let's move on. So today's video is, like I said, going to be not necessarily different, but just kind of an overview, and then here are the places where you need to go. So a little bit of an overview about the Merida, Mexico, and actually it's Merida, Yucatan, Yucatan being the state. So Merida, Yucatan, Mexico's real estate market, especially for somebody like me that is a vacationer, an investor, and eventually wants to retire there. So there are tons of different areas to invest out of Merida, and it doesn't even just include Merida. For those of you who don't know, Merida is an inland colonial town. It was actually a Mayan city of Tahoe, and then that was, when the Spanish came in, that was kind of torn down and replanted as Merida, Mexico. It is an inland town. You're about 25 minutes from the beach if you're on the exterior of the town. If you go north on the highway, the first city that you're going to run into is Progreso. Progreso is one of the largest beach towns there, and it has several different cities that are expat, I would say hubs, like Cholem, Chuburna, Chicxulub, but Progreso is one of those as well. It is probably the most famous, not just for being an expat hub, but also for having a 4-mile long or 6.5 kilometer long pier known as the Progreso Pier that is the longest in the world, and we talked about that a little bit on the last video. But that market, Progreso, Cholem, Chuburna, all the way out to Telchac Puerto on the east side of Progreso, which is about 45 minutes, if I remember right, from Progreso. All of those have different types of markets. They're a little bit less expensive, a little bit more expensive, a lot of city space, not a lot of beach space, whatever it might be, but there are a ton of pieces of real estate there that expats have been flocking to. On the other side of that, when you go into colonial Merida, there are the historic neighborhoods like Santa Ana, which is, you know, it's kind of drowned by permitting, but it's a very, very popular area to invest in real estate because that really is the hub of where everything is going on. There's also a residential neighborhood that's just to the east of the historic district called Chenbec, which is where my wife and I invested, and that's where we want to retire. It's right on what I would say is the edge of where you see people from the US and from Canada and from the UK and other places really investing in. So we're kind of on the tier right before it gets developed. Several places around us are developed, one block on, not as much, one block on from there, even less, so on and so forth. So they're all different neighborhoods. And then when you go to the north of Merida, what you're going to find is that that is a more modern, or it is a more contemporary development. So you're going to see malls, you're going to see shopping centers, you're going to see it not look like what you would imagine a colonial town would look like, where we have a place and where the historic district is. You're going to see more modern functionality. And some people really like that. Some people don't. We chose to be in the center of Merida because we also needed short-term rental capacity for the property. That is probably a little bit more popular where all of the things in the central district are, as opposed to the north, which is built out, it seems, and from the investors that I've spoken to, from the expats that I've spoken to, it definitely seems as though it is more built out for that part of the community. Even in the highway or in the areas between Merida and Progreso, you're going to find little outlets where there are golf courses, and they have golf course communities and schools that, again, while everyone purchases there, it definitely feels as though those are communities that are pushed a little bit more towards expats. So that's the general overview. The other piece that I want to say is a lot of you have asked me about what really sealed the deal on Merida. And it was a lot of things. And the truth of the matter is we don't like to put our money in places. I was a financial advisor by trade for several years before moving into real estate. I don't like to put my money somewhere where it doesn't have the potential to make money. I don't want to sell our property at all. But that also doesn't mean that I want to put money into a place that I think is going to go down in value. That seems like a bad business decision. That seems like a bad decision overall. You don't want to waste your money. So Merida overall is growing, and it's growing in a significant way. For instance, when I was talking to Henry Ponce, and actually our realtor even before that, we were going over, okay, what's it going to take to get this place ready to go? What's the process? We know, we've done several renovations ourselves in the past, and normally we hit the ground running. We move in, boom, or we buy the property, boom, we start. And permitting here has caused us significant delays. So it took us quite a while to get our property, or at least to get our renderings to the point where we could say, yep, absolutely, let's go forward. But even before we said 100%, yes, this is what we're doing, we still had the general outline that we were very comfortable with. And so we submitted it to permitting. That's been several months. It's been kind of a bear. So permitting takes forever. Getting it ready takes forever, especially when you're talking about that. There are so many pieces and parts that once this whole thing is done, I'm going to do a very long series of videos going over each and every step, even more so than I've done in the past. But suffice it to say, planning took a long time because of COVID, coronavirus, people not being able to work right next to each other, people working from home. It just wasn't as efficient at that time. That was when we were all kind of learning to get used to it, I should say. And then once we got that done, permitting has taken forever. Part of the reason being because they have seen year over year growth. And I'm not talking about 4% growth in permits. I'm talking doubling and doubling again year over year when it comes to permits. I think it was a couple of thousand the first year, and then more and more and more and more. We were told that by our realtor before we were told that by the architect that's in charge of doing it. This is a tsunami of permitting that they're just honestly not fit to do yet. I mean, they're seeing unprecedented growth. What do you do when something's unprecedented? You kind of got to feel around and figure out what you're doing. So if you're looking to invest in a property that is not completely done, but is something like us where you're looking to renovate, something to keep in mind in the Merida real estate market is that while it is growing, and that is a positive thing, it's also a negative when it comes to really kind of getting things on track. So just keep that in mind, all is well. But it also says that Merida has seen growth even as some economies were struggling. So positive thing, that's kind of the generalization of the Merida real estate market. It is strong, it seems to be getting stronger, and year over year from, at least 2017, which was the last major article I saw, it is clipping along at one heck of a rate. And from what I saw when I was there, it's not stopping. Every realtor I've spoken to says it continues to grow, both in the beach towns and in Merida proper, in the north and the central district. Permitting growing the same way, sales continuing the same way. It doesn't appear to stop. Now, this is not investment advice. I want to make sure that that's perfectly clear, but it is something that you should keep in mind as you're looking at different markets. Where are people moving out of and moving to? Merida seems like a great place. I hope so. Would be good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you 3 separate websites that you can go to find your future property, and whichever one you like. Like I said, the last one that I'm going to show you is the broker, the individual that we use, their website, but the first 2 were ones that we started at trying to find our property. So here we go. Okay, so this is our first website. This is Yucatan.com. Now, this is where, honestly, we started looking at property. For whatever reason, when we initially started, this and the second one were the first ones that showed up. At the time, when I typed in Merida real estate or Merida, Mexico real estate, Tierra Yucatan was the place that showed up every single time. The next time, it was the next one, but we'll go over here. So Tierra Yucatan was a really good platform. Now, again, one of the most frustrating things about Merida is that you can't just go on Zillow and see everyone's listing. It's not set up with an MLS. It's honestly not as regulated as we are in the United States. I'm not familiar with Canada's market, so I can't really comment on that. But they do have regulations in the sense of selling and that kind of thing. I don't want it to sound like it's the Wild West, but it's not really there's not really a unification of listings. But the positive is that there are a lot of sites and there are a lot of very well-recommended realtors. This one I have seen over and over again. People comment about how good TR Yucatan is. I have not worked with them, so I cannot personally recommend them. All I can say is everything that I've heard, very positive. But just looking at the website, and again, I'm going to be using my mic in my mouse in a weird situation here because this is the Corona office. But you can see that all listings are here. Restored historical homes, which is pretty much what we're going to have. Unrestored, which is what we currently have. And then newer neighborhood, beach homes, all kinds of different places. So you have a ton of options to look at. They also have resources on the other side where you can do the property search, contact us, how to buy, sell your property, blah, blah, blah. A lot of different positive things. So what I'll do is let's go to restored historic homes. So you can see, and this is pretty much how they're all going to function. And I know that I'm showing you guys websites like you've never seen websites before. That is not what I mean to do. What I mean to do is just show you some of the features and functionality of each and then move on to the next. So restored historical homes, it'll give you the US dollar and you can pretty much do whatever you're looking for. You can go to Campeche, which they're in, or for our house in Yucatan, you can go here. So they've got a little studio in Merida. There's $42,000. Let's just take a quick look at that since it's the first one. You can kind of see that they have all the different little facts here. Contact David Palomo. Lots of different amenities. You'll see as you get higher up in cost, as you would assume, they'll list a ton of amenities. And TR Yucatan, I can say, was absolutely excellent at showing exactly what they have and what they don't. They seem to be up to date. Now, I'm going to say this with just a bit of holdback here because I don't know if it was TR Yucatan's or a different one. But one of the sites that we went to, there was a property on there that had been sold about 4 months prior to that was still listed. And sometimes you can say that that was not intentional in the sense that, and I apologize, moving over to the side here. So that's what that place looks like. That's 42,000 USD. Seems like a good price. Just for reference here, you can see that it is at Calle 71E50, basically. So that's what that property is. Shout out to it. But TR Yucatan was a really good resource for us because it's where we started, and they do have just a lot of breakdown of the different types of houses, which is helpful. If you're looking for something on the beach, you don't want to just look at every single listing to see what's on the beach. You want to see where it is, what it is, and especially when it comes to a restored place or an unrestored place, it's really helpful to have that. So that's TR Yucatan. I definitely recommend checking it out. It was a huge help for us when we were looking. So this is Point 2 Homes, and this is now what turns up as the first thing on Google that shows up when you look up real estate Merida, Mexico, is Point 2 Homes. Now this seems like a great website. This is probably the fourth time that I've been here. I normally use the one TR Yucatan or the one that we're about to show, but I wanted to show you this because for those of you who just type in Mexico or Merida, Mexico real estate, this might be the first thing that shows up. So it looks like it's got a really good little website here, some good looking places. Let's go to the Lemon House in Santiago. So obviously a little bit more expensive at 300,000 as opposed to 42 for the other one, but it looks like they've got a nice little setup. They've got your real estate agent. I'm assuming that that is the listing agent because again, I'm not sure that you're able to purchase here. But anyway, this one doesn't seem as user-friendly necessarily as the first. That doesn't mean that it's not good because it still has the things that you want. Price, minimum, maximum, beds, property type, and the like. And let's actually go to property type now that I'm looking at that. Okay, and this is pretty much what you would see in Zillow. So house, condo, apartment, townhouse, duplex, triplex, mobile, recreational, all those kind of things. It's going to give you a lot of options. It's going to help you narrow down your search. You can see that there's Merida, Merida Centro, the walking distance to Paseo. There are a lot of options here, and you especially see I wanted to show this, the Calle 19 and Colonia towers because they're giant and you can see them from pretty much anywhere in Merida. But you see that there are just tons of options here. Prices seem to be on the high side for these, but you're going to have that everywhere. I mean, the ones that we have on the screen right now, these look like absolutely beautiful spaces. They're not designed to go low to high, but you can do that with any search. So I would just say Point 2 Homes, check it out. If it is more user-friendly to you, if this is like how you enjoy searching for houses, it looks like a very good thing. Like I said, we enjoyed the TR Yucatan one a little bit more because it had the different types of houses. But this one functions pretty much exactly like most real estate websites, which for most people is probably going to work out pretty well. All right, and then last but certainly not least, we have Yucatan Beach and City Property, excellence in real estate. And this is the place, the brokerage, the firm that we use. And this is Elizabeth Rodriguez's firm. So I can first tell you, I'm going to go to agents just because these are people that helped us. Elizabeth Rodriguez is obviously the owner of the firm. She was kind of the one that took over everything. Jeff Stacy is the individual that helped us, kind of who drove us to the different properties and was the showing agent. And then Nicholas Sanders was actually the individual that had the listing himself, and he showed us around the property. So all of these people just were top-notch individuals from start to finish, and we were incredibly, incredibly blessed to be able to find them. Now, one of the reasons that I do like this as well is you can see that one at the top, they have the new listings, beach, city, value, blah, blah, blah. All kinds of different places, similar to the Tierra Yucatan style. On top of that, they have the drop-down categories for the different types and these states, whether it's Campeche, Quintana Roo, or Yucatan. And then over here, they have different features, just like Tierra does, where it's, just real estate resources for you. Buying in Mexico for sellers, testimonials, policies, things of this nature. This was a great website for us as well, because when you do go to the city listings portion, you're kind of greeted with an absolute ton of different listings that they have. They've been very successful in recruiting agents, getting listings on, and they do a very good job of making sure that they're pretty nicely found. Now, again, I will say that I can't remember what site it was on that had the listing that was expired or had already sold, but they do tend to linger a little bit more. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing, except that when you really like a listing, you might not know until you contact them. And a lot of people like Zillow, and where we're regulated in Kansas City in the United States, we have regulations that state when we have to take a listing off, when we can put it on, and all kinds of different things. And we have to follow those regulations to the T. Not necessarily the same in Merida and Progreso and Yucatan in general. But these websites, and especially Yucatan Beach and City Properties, you can see that they actually list when a property is under contract. And Elizabeth does keep a very good tab on when that happens. So I can't recommend Tierra Yucatan outside of saying that everything that I've seen is they seem to have a very, very well-run organization. I just personally have never used them. Website, fantastic. Point Two Homes is the first one that you come to with Google, and it seems like a great website. It just doesn't have the functionality at this point that I would say that a place like Tierra Yucatan or Yucatan Beach and City Properties does, only because from what I have seen and the conversations that I've had, a lot of people really want to know if they're buying a hacienda, if they're buying a beach property, if the property that they're buying is historic but not renovated, if it is renovated and turnkey. That's where the other two really help. And then Yucatan City and Beach, or Beach and City Properties, I just can't say enough about because we had such a positive experience with them, and their website does have some pretty great functionality. So there you have it. That was pretty much the best overview that I could possibly give you, especially given the conditions that we have. But Merida real estate seems to be on an upward climb. It seems to be in a positive direction. Now, again, I'm not trying to give investment advice, but this is something that I personally am invested in and can tell you that if it goes south, I'm going to be the first one to tell you because I'll be experiencing it too, but I wouldn't put my money somewhere that I didn't believe in. And I absolutely wouldn't plan on bringing my kids down to a place or retiring in a place that I thought would be a negative influence, because everything that I have seen, Merida, Mexico, and the state of Yucatan is one of the best places that I've ever traveled. And that's why we want to put down roots long term. Whether we move down there in a year or whether we move down there for retirement, we're definitely going to be spending a lot of time there, and the Merida real estate market wasn't the reason, but it was the cherry on top. And I hope that those websites help you out. Again, hopefully one of these days we'll have something where all of those websites can be taken, put together in a piece of software, and you'll be able to download it and see all the different listings from all of the different people that represent homes down there. But until then, check out those three. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Which one's your favorite? Which one have you used? Or which one did I miss? Because those are just the three that work the best for us. So anyway, again, my name is Alexander Howell. Please feel free to visit me at any of these social media links, or feel free to visit my website, alexanderhowell.com. And don't forget to please like and subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell if you enjoyed the video and found this in any way, shape, or form useful. I'd really appreciate it. It helps with the YouTube algorithm. It helps get these videos out to people who would benefit from seeing them. Again, my name is Alexander Howell, and as always, peace.